Hey, good morning, class. Today we're going to talk about the assignment that we had been given for this week, and I chose Kenneth Minkima's Memoranda and Documents, Reforming Harvard, Cotton Mather on Education at Cambridge. Here, Minkima discusses how Harvard needs to be restructured to better fit all fields of study, with a center focus being on evangelism and the Puritan belief, which all colleges had kind of been founded on here in America. The Mathers are a prominent family that had an extensive lineage of devout Christians who were intent on spreading the word of Christ across the colonies. Cotton had been petitioning to become president of Harvard since he had watched his predecessor, Samuel Willard, cause the slow decline of Harvard's educational and spiritual foundation. And the best way to go about doing this is structuring educational systems that allowed for a larger student body to come together under one roof and study the Bible. This was also Cotton's way of soliciting himself to be placed into the position of president of Harvard after Willard's death by promising to bring Harvard back to its original foundation of Puritan beliefs. And Minkima states in his journal article on page 322, the important points was then one element in Cotton Mather's campaign to intercede in the choice of a new Harvard president and to revivify the school's cultural Puritanism. Some of the major points Mather makes are that the tutors were not doing their job of educating the students in Latin, in theology, in encouraging them to do their own research by reading books constantly. Additionally, Cotton felt that Harvard was beginning to become more secular and straying away from their spiritual foundation. Cotton states, "It is with the utmost importunity that I press to have this matter well settled with you. Ye entreat me not to leave you, nor to return from following after you, until you are brought into this way of living which distinguishes the excellence of the earth from those who are but so many carcasses falling into the wilderness." And that's on page 100 of Cotton Mather's Mandus Deo ad Ministerium, Directions for a Candidate of the Ministry. Lastly, Cotton Mather was concerned with the general education and its dedication to ministry and instructing the future generation on biblical foundations. He felt that Harvard had neglected to follow through with its Puritan foundation of Christ in raising future generations to abide in the Word of God through theological teachings, which it had originally been constructed to do, and that was Harvard's initial purpose, was to raise future pastors and educate them in theology so that they could go out and preach the word effectively, creating a future of well-educated men in theology, allowing for the growth of Christian followers. And Cotton Mather states in his Mandus Deo ad Ministerium by Eugene White on page 311, to Mather, education was a godly endeavor. Furthermore, inasmuch as his theology rested upon experimental philosophy and natural science, he considered that the survival of right religion depended upon adequate education for both ministers and congregations. Within this video discussion, I utilized some resources. One was the Cotton Mather Mandus Deo ad Ministerium, Directions for a Candidate of the Ministry. And, of course, Kenneth Minkima, Reforming Harvard, Cotton Mather on Education at Cambridge in the New England Quarterly. And then the last one I used was Eugene White, Cotton Mather's Mandus Deo ad Ministerium in the Quarterly Journal of Speech. Thanks.